How many of you have ever read a great book? I want to see a show of hands. Yeah, I know I definitely have. I love a great book that keeps me on the edge of my seat. I can't wait to read that next line and see where the story will take me. I'm sure you all have experience with this. Now, let me tell you about one of the best books that has ever been written. It's the book of Pennsylvania 4-H. It's filled with lifelong memories, long-lasting friendships, so many leadership opportunities, and just so many things that fill up the path. So I want to take a walk through this book, chapter by chapter. Chapter 1. This chapter is about all the hundreds of clubs that span across the state. This is where every single 4-H'er gets their start, at the club level. Now, in my 4-H dog club, this is where I really got to know my friends, but also take on a leadership opportunity that helped shape me into the person I am today. When I was 13 years old, I was voted into the office of president. Now, this was a huge responsibility for someone at such a young age. I mean, I had to make agendas for all the meetings, learn parliamentary procedure, and also delegate all the roles and responsibilities to all my club members. Now, as I'm sure you would be, I was so nervous for this role. I mean, I didn't want to mess it up. I had my club counting on me. But I ended up going into my meeting, and it went very smoothly. So the takeaway from this was that I was very glad that I took on such a role that made me really nervous and scared, because it helped me in the future. Moving on to Chapter 2. Chapter 2 in the book of Pennsylvania 4-H is all about the skills that 4-H teaches you. I'm sure we all could go on and on about all the skills we've learned in 4-H. Things like communication, leadership, teamwork, and a ton of others. But one I'd like to talk about is the skill of public speaking. It's something that can be very intimidating for a lot of us, especially in front of a large crowd. I want to tell you a story about one of my first ever public speeches. It was when I was 5 years old. I was a cloverbutt, and it was my impromptu at the county communications contest. Now, as a 5-year-old, going in and giving my first speech, I was so scared. I was going to be judged by people who I didn't know. I had to talk in front of them. What was going to happen to me? Now, I don't remember every single part of that speech, but what I do remember is that I bawled my eyes out before I went into that room. But after my parents convinced me that it would be okay, I went in, gave my speech, and I ended up talking for almost 10 whole minutes, which is way too long for an impromptu. Now, I was super scared, but again, I harnessed that inner fear, and I've learned that if I take that fear and put it out there, I'm going to succeed every single time. And I'm very glad that I went into that room, even though I didn't want to. Chapter 3 in the book of Pennsylvania 4-H is about the state events. Events like Animal Science Camp, State Leadership Conference, and Capitol Days. These events bring Pennsylvania 4-H together and unite us as one close-knit family that we are. I remember when I attended the first ever SLC Junior. It was held right here at the Penn Stater quite a few years ago. I was so excited because it gave me a little glimpse of what the overnight SLC looked like, and I could not wait to go the next year. When I came to SLC, it was my favorite event by far that I've ever been to, and I look forward to it every single year. It's where I meet some of my very best friends, and I learn how to succeed at life. Now, we're moving on to the 4th chapter, and this is probably my favorite chapter in the book. It's the one about state council. 1 year ago today, I was standing on this very stage. I was inducted into a position that would require great responsibility. I had a duty to serve all of you, Pennsylvania 4-H, and make you the best that you can be. I had to lead you and make sure that Pennsylvania 4-H was on a good path. Now, this has been one of the best experiences of my whole life. I've made some of my very best friends over the past year, and I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to be on state council. So I encourage all of you to take every opportunity that is given to you, because I'm very glad that I did. Now, we come to the last chapter in our book. Now, this chapter is blank. It's open so that you can create your own story in the book of Pennsylvania 4-H. You have the ability to write any story that you want. So I encourage all of you to take every opportunity presented to you. Take the initiative whenever possible, and always be outgoing, because you never know where they might take you. Whenever you write your story in Pennsylvania 4-H, it's not only impacting you, but it's impacting everyone around you. And the people that come after you will be able to see the amazing impact that you have made. I'm glad I was able to write in the book of Pennsylvania 4-H, and I encourage every single one of you to do the same. Thank you.